Mr. President, given what you've said about Gaza, did the U.S. send troops to help secure the security vacuum?
As far as Gaza is concerned, we'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that. We're going to take over that piece, and we're going to develop it, create thousands and thousands of jobs, and it'll be something that the entire Middle East can be very proud of. But everybody feels that continuing the same process that's gone on forever, over and over again, and then it starts, and then the killing starts, and all of the other problems start, and you end up in the same place, and we don't want to see that happen.
You are talking tonight about the United States taking over a sovereign territory. What authority would allow you to do that? Are you talking about a permanent occupation there?
I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East and maybe the entire Middle East. And everybody I've spoken to, this was not a decision made lightly. Everybody I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States owning that piece of land, developing and creating thousands of jobs with something that will be magnificent in a really magnificent area that nobody would know. Nobody can look because all they see is death and destruction and rubble.
He has a different idea, and I think it's worth paying attention to this. We're talking about it. He's exploring it with his people, with his staff. I think it's something that could change history, and it's worthwhile really pursuing this avenue.
Yeah, please go ahead.
The State Department has informed Congress of a planned $8 billion weapons sale to Israel, as Israel presses forward with its war against Hamas in Gaza. Some of the arms in the package could be sent through current U.S. stockpiles, but the majority would take a year or several years to deliver, according to two U.S. officials Saturday who spoke on condition of anonymity because the notification to Congress hasn't been formally sent. The sale includes medium-range air-to-air missiles to help Israel defend against airborne threats, 155mm projectile artillery shells for long-range targeting, Hellfire AGM-114 missiles, 500-pound bombs, and more. The weapons package would add to a record of at least $17.9 billion in military aid that the United States has provided Israel since the Hamas attacks on October 7, 2023. The destruction in Gaza has been ongoing and severe, with significant impacts on the civilian population. According to the Fourth Committee of the United Nations, since early 2024, over 25,000 tons of explosives, equivalent to 2 nuclear bombs, have been dropped on Gaza. This has led to mass graves being found even within hospitals, indicating the scale of the humanitarian crisis. Additionally, hazardous debris, including carcinogenic asbestos, has contaminated Gaza's air, water, and soil, posing long-term health risks such as cancer to the residents. As of February 5, 2025, several countries have recognized Israel's actions in Gaza as genocide. Here is a list of those countries. It is a very long list apparently. The concept of Greater Israel refers to the expansion of Israel's territory and sovereignty to encompass what many Israelis describe as their historic biblical land, including the occupied Palestinian territories and the occupied Golan Heights. According to some interpretations, this could extend to areas between the Nile and the Euphrates, potentially including parts of Egypt, Lebanon, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia. Jared Kushner, Netanyahu, and Trump want Gaza to become another refuge for the billionaire class. That's just what the world needs. Yeah, right. Here is a quote from Jared on the matter. Quote, Kushner, who was a senior foreign policy advisor under Trump's first administration, has previously spoken about the very valuable potential of Gaza's waterfront property.
In Syria, when there's refugees, Turkey took them, Europe took them, Jordan took them. For whatever reason, here in Gaza, there's refugees from the fighting, from an offensive attack that was staged from Gaza. Israel's going in to do, a long-term deterrence mission, and it's unfortunate that nobody's taking the refugees.
But also, there are real fears on the part of Arabs, and I'm sure you talk to a lot of them, who think once Gazans leave Gaza, Netanyahu's never going to let them back in.
Maybe, but I'm not sure there's much left of Gaza at this point. So, if you think about even the construct, Gaza was not really a historical precedent, right? It was the result of a war, right? You had tribes that were in different places, but then Gaza became a thing. Egypt, used to run it, and then, over time, you had different governments that came in different ways. So you have another war. Usually when wars happen, borders are changed historically over time. And so my sense is I would say, how do we deal with the terror threat that is there so that it cannot be a threat to Israel or to Egypt, right? I think that both sides are spending a fortune on military. I think neither side really wants to have, a terrorist organization enclaved right between them. And Gaza's waterfront property. It could be very valuable to, if people would focus on kind of building up, livelihoods. You think about all the money that's gone into this tunnel network and into all the munitions. If that would have gone into education or innovation, what could have been done? And so I think that it's a little bit of an unfortunate situation there, but I think from Israel's perspective, I would do my best to move the people out and then clean it up. But I don't think that Israel has stated that they don't want the people to move back there afterwards.
You saw Tom Friedman's column on Tuesday about, where he put forward a plan to get out of this. Biden should recognize the Palestinian Authority unilaterally as a state, and MBS should go to Jerusalem like Egyptian President Anwar Sadat did in 1977, and he should say, I'll normalize with Israel, I'll recognize West Jerusalem as your capital, and I'll even pay to rebuild Gaza if you recognize a Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital. What do you think? Good idea?
No, I don't think that's a good idea. I think that there's certain elements of it that are correct. I think proactively recognizing a Palestinian state would essentially be rewarding an act of terror that was perpetrated into Israel. So it's a super bad idea in that regard.
The arrogance, hubris, greed, and lack of compassion is unbelievable. How dare you level Gaza, kill thousands of non-Hamas Palestinians, and then suggest 2 million Palestinians should simply relocate to other countries, and have the audacity to suggest redevelopment under United States or Israel control is a good thing. Good for whom?